Okay. I was here on time, but I don't know why I am way late. I guess I, whatever. At times, I want to get the game done. And other times, I still do, but I don't. I feel lazy, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel like doing much today right now, actually. Recent. I do have to work on this though. Okay, so 30 different hats. I grab the hats, put them on, then again, turn toward the healers. He said a few magic words, and then the book started floating toward him. Oh, I have to change that. So actually, what I did yesterday, yeah, a little recap of yesterday. I had to create some logic, some tie up some logic here about this little book switch that happens that actually plays a minor but important part role in the story. That is because this is how they learn to communicate with Sir William, who's a unicorn, who's stuck in Lapswood at the first time they meet him. And luckily for him, John has the book Unicorn Sign Language, and he probably has a backpack. I never said he had a backpack, but he probably does because he has the Unicorn Sign Language book. Probably I don't know, water bottle and something backpack or something. I don't know. But so now I readjusted the actual event page text here, right? And I don't know if I should do it or not. No, I don't really need to do it. Then if I should copy this over, but I decided not to, I think. Okay. Well, I won't worry about that just yet. Uh, he puts his hat, says he has transforms into be the beast before disappearing again. Halfway considers it odd. Okay. So let's actually change this text up here. I looked at noticing two different hats. Grab the hats, put them on without thinking, then turned. Okay. Let's just put this down here, and maybe I'll move this text down to the bottom because I'm not really like deleting anything. I'm just dropping it in. Um, Okay. Saying a few magic words. He went over to his desk. I'm gonna change that a little bit too. Hmm. That's another little issue I have now. He should already have the hats on his head. Okay. Because what he's doing is he's being a little bit lazy is what he's doing. Let's here. Let's do something else. I'm gonna rewrite this whole thing here. Uh, Halfway looked up. We're gonna take this here. Delete. Enter. I'm gonna put that down here. There. These are just different attempts here. Looking up. I don't know. Maybe his study is large. Maybe up. Let's do this. Turning around toward the bookshelf behind him. Uh, and then tilting his head back all the way to the top. He saw let's see. He started scanning the shelves for his hat magic. Reference book. He kept tilting his. Now, why it would be on the top shelf, I have no clue, because you'd think that it's a reference book, it needs to be down. He kept tilting his head until was see. He started scanning the shelves for his hat magic reference book. As he tilted his head up. No. What do you think? Uh, Craning. I want to say craning his neck, but that when I say it to myself, it sounds weird. So that's why I'm asking. Real, I should say phrase. Why can't I do this stupid? Okay, there we go. Means to stretch or extend your neck, often awkwardly or with effort, in order to see something that's high up, far away, or otherwise. Okay, craning your neck. Yes. Correct. Wriggling. Okay, thanks. Crane. Neck. He spotted it. Why on the lens are you way up there? Yeah. I'm thinking of like a backstory for why it should be all the way on the top. I don't know. It's just I don't know if I should be doing it this ways because it slows me down, but at the same time it still keeps the world like fresh. So let me move this text over here so I can see the chat just in case anybody's in here, which they're not, but whatever. Um, so I guess let me think of this little backstory, right? Ah, that's a chance for a little Easter egg, a little reference, a little hidden reference that you may or may not. Well, it won't be so hidden. It'll be yes. Anytime apprentice and figured it would be easier to find things. Is it alphabetical? Is it Professor Zorlin? That wouldn't make it on the top shelf though. No, I have to think of something. It would be alphabetical order then, would it? Oh yeah. Yes. Okay, this won't be a reference. This will just be a story. Once. Philip being cursed to doing everything in reverse. And let's put the reference at the top. I've been meaning to fix that, but no matter. Okay. Now, why in all the lands are you way up there? Oh, yes, that apprentice I had. Poor fellow had been cursed into doing everything in reverse, and thus put the reference section at the top. I've been meaning to fix that, but no matter. Okay. I think a levitation spell is in order. Halfway had forgotten WhatsApp. He lost up his magic. Halfway. Briefly forgotten. Maybe I won't say it like that. Forgotten is problem. Um, issue. Okay, performance. Okay. Looking around, there's missing city and it's particularly long on road. Okay. Let's see. I guess I should do a description. I don't know. I mean, this looks like it'll be extremely long too, so I might have to shorten it. But I feel like I need to actually describe them a little bit. Halfway Herald was fairly short. Not 5-3. He could be tall though, couldn't he? Is he a short wizard, short fat wizard, or a tall skinny wizard? Short. And chubby. Chubby is not a good word, though. What do you call fat? What do you call a little bit fat? What do you call someone who's a little bit fat? Actually, he look kind of like Santa Claus, huh? Chubby, plump, stocky, husky, reset. Hmm. Okay, my wizard character isn't tall or skinny. It's kind kind of short and dumpy. Maybe I should say dumpy. Although I don't know. People like their wizards tall, don't they? Wizards are generally pictured as tall, possibly skinny, human, aren't they? Just getting some general ideas. This will just give me a few little ideas, basically. Stereotypically depicted as tall and often skinny, though not a universal role. Dumbledore. Hmm. Hmm. I haven't really thought of it that much. I was going to make my character and be kind of, but it doesn't fit with the general good, even though I can make it any way I want. Stout. I guess I could say stout. Comfort and connection defines this character more than his nature. Wizard of Oz. The wizard is often depicted as a small, balding, somewhat portly man behind the curtain. Yeah, yeah. Portly. 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 Hmm. Yeah. Actually, portly is kind of a good word. It generally means plumper than normal, doesn't it? Yes, portly. With authority and grace, portly gentleman. Yeah. Port carriage or bearing, originally referring to one's demeanor or stature before shifting to meaning style and body. Yes. Yes, I like portly. Do that. In fact, um, 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 even though short would describe his stature, um, you probably wouldn't use short and together like that, would you? Short and stout. Oh, Santa Claus. Well, I was thinking Santa Claus. Squat. Mm, yeah. I was thinking of Santa Claus. I know uh American pop culture. Santa is portrayed as a um tall fat man, but in the Night Before Christmas poem, he's described right jolly. Oh, um, yeah. Uh, let's see. This is from St. Nicholas. Yeah, a visit from St. Nicholas. Yeah, now there's a description. The rest of the new fall and snow give a lesser opinion to the object below. Yeah, a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer with a little old driver so lively and quick. I knew the moment must be Saint Nick. I don't even know that like the full actual original Falling Meets of the Hopeless Doom came with a bound, dressed in all fur from his head to his clothes are all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he flung on his back. Looked like a pillar just opening his pack. His eyes oddly twinkled, his dimples how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. Joe's little mouth was drawn up like a bow, the beard on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held in his teeth, and the smoke encircled his head like a wreath. Okay. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. Right? Um, uh, a right jolly old elf. That's not what it said though. Yeah, I know. Capital C. It's riding in a miniature sleigh with 8 tiny reindeer. And see if I can get here. Little old driver. Little old driver. Chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. And well, a right jolly old elf. So previous incarnations of Santa pictured him as an elf, or elf besides. This seems likely how he was able to fit in chimneys. Chimney? Chim. Okay. Claus. Without the E, with the E, I don't remember. Clement Moore's poem supposedly describes the little driver, right, jolly old elf. Miniature scale to explain the logistics of his journey. As a miniature sleigh pulled by tiny reindeer, this small stature allows him to fly around the chimney with ease. Describes having a broad face and a little round belly. It shakes when he laughs like a bowl full of jelly, but crucially, he is small enough to fit where a tall man could not. Thomas Nast cartoons, political cartoons, began drawing sounds larger, more human-sized figure, although somewhat elfin and agile. Coca-Cola advertising artist Haddon Sandblom's famous paintings for Coca-Cola cemented the image of Santa as a human-sized, grandfatherly man. Some Blue modeled his Santa on a friend, making him tall and robust rather than a tiny elf. This human-sized version eventually overtook the elf description in popular culture, even though his poems, Tiny Reindeer, and Miniature Sleigh remain iconic. So, my character um, is almost Santa-like. Or Father Christmas for you guys in the UK. Okay. Uh, but So I could use portly, I could use short stout. I also thought of something that probably only works with prose, i.e. in a story. That is, the more you look at him, the more he looks to be just the right size and shape for a wizard. I don't know how I would portray that visually, but I just thought that could be a thing. Maybe when one of my other characters first sees him, thinking that wizards are supposed to be tall and slim, he's opposite. But then the more he looks at him, the more he realizes he looks exactly how a wizard's supposed to look. And actually, I do that in a regular fantasy story that's not even comedy. Because you don't need to explain why he looks right, you just need to describe the character's realization. Just the right size effect works. Part because his magic or his presence fills the space his body occupies, making his shortness feel grounded and his support feel like stored power rather than weight. Yeah. Handles internal realization easily. Visual media can show this through perspective. But it fit between the person and the role. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if there's. I mean, you have to be a little bit. Uh, hmm. I also have some other things to think about in regards to this. In my game, dwarves, I'll say dwarves because that's the way I want it, are short. Yes, I know the plural for dwarf or dwarf is dwarfs, but I feel like I should call it dwarves because of certain English words like leaf versus leaves and so forth. Um, Probably shorter than men, and uh, and gnomes are even smaller. that dwarves are more stocky. It is hefty rather than fat. Okay. Uh, saying that traditionally the plural of dwarf is dwarfs. These science dwarf stars, older fairy tales like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The spelling dwarves is populated. Was it populated? I didn't know that. I didn't know Tolkien did that. Maybe that's why I spelled it that way, is because that's what I read. The serious mythological range from the silly dwarves of children's stories. He admitted it was technically bad grammar, but it fit the ancient tone better. Gamer fantasy novel dwarves is now expected and preferred spelling. It signals to the reader that these are sturdy mythical beings of your world, not just short people. Physical dimensions. Uh, thick bones muscular. They look like they're carved from stone and heavy due to muscle and bone density. Not fat. Hefty is a perfect descriptor. Shorter than humans, but taller than gnomes. Runner. Yeah. In the game, of course, gnomes are probably not the typical fantasy type, like sprites or whatever, but rather they're dour, um, greedy, basically pretty evil. And in fact, gnomes and dwarves were uh, the same race of halflings, I guess. I don't know if halflings is like a Dungeons and Dragons specific term, you know. I know that they said call them halflings in Lord of the Rings, so maybe maybe J.R.R. Tolkien originated the term halfling, or they split. But they've gotten smaller and rounder. Reimagining them as dour, greedy, and physically degenerated offshoot of shared halfling ancestry with dwarves creates a rich narrative history. Um, the concept of shared ancestry that diverge fits well with their evolutionary cultural drift themes. The split. If dwarves and gnomes were one-to-one race and their physical divergence tells a story, dwarves may remain stocky and hardy, perhaps due to the life of mining, craftsmanship, and honor of the generation. Dwarves become smaller, rounder, and better could symbolize a shift away from physical labor toward hoarding, sedentary greed, and perhaps a magical corruption that warped their bodies along with their morals. The fatness here isn't jolly like Santa, but perhaps indicative of gluttony or lack of discipline. Exactly. Moving away from the whimsical nature loving gnome, often confused with sprites or brownies, to a dour, evil industrialist or miser is a strong subversion. Visual contrast where your wizard is portly in a warm, dignified way. These gnomes could be portly in a bloated, unhealthy way. Their roundness emphasizes their greed rather than their wisdom. It makes them distinct from typical tinker gnome. Instead of curious inventors, they become hoarders and corrupt merchants, making their exactly seem more like shrinking away from the world they exploit rather than a cute feature. Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I wonder. Now, this is for the far long future because I won't get to actually doing visuals um, for a while. But when my main character, John, first encounters him, he could remark about how short and fat he is. And I could exaggerate it in such a way as to like look like that. When lizards are supposed to be slim, I could exaggerate it to look like that. Um, and then after a few seconds of John observing him, uh, I could I could change change into a taller, less round, but still portly. So portly and still actually short in comparison to John, who is only 5'6", maybe halfway held. The lizard is 5'3" or something. Maybe 5'2". We'll say 5'2", 5'2" or something. Still here. Change. Actually, short in comparison to John, who's only 5'6", maybe halfway Harold is 5'2" or something. Um, and then John could comment, now that I'm looking at you, you somehow don't seem so short and fat. And halfway could remark, I'm exactly the size and shape the lizard is supposed to be. Indicating it's partly magic. Actually, I should just copy this and add that to my dump file. So let's add it to the dump file here. The more I add, that narrative mechanic that uses magical perception or glamour to reinforce your theme. A wizard's true form is defined by their parent, not their biology. His own perceived notions project onto distortion onto Harold. He sees exaggerated, short, dumpy figure because his brain is trying to reconcile wizard with not tall and skinny, resulting in character wrongness. Perhaps slightly blurry or comical. The second look, John focuses, he truly sees the magic radiating from Harold, distortion clears. Harold doesn't physically grow tall, he just looks proportionate. The shift. He remains 5'2", shorter, but the fatness recedes into a dignified portliness. His shoulders might appear broader, his stance taller, not because he grew, but because his presence fills his frame correctly. Exactly this. The rest is just you expecting a storybook. Okay, yes. Possibility. When you eventually create the art, you can draw Harold. Use visual effects like shimmer, shift, and light to represent John's change of perception rather than needing two completely different character models. Mechanic perfectly validates your earlier idea, just the right size. Yeah. Uh, now let's go back into my thing here, which I'm still not getting anything done. It just I don't know. I'm fairly short and stout. Halfway does, however, wear the traditional blue robes and pointy blue hat of a wizard. Tradition. There we go. Except when he's practicing hat magic. Well, actually, maybe he'll never be seen with his pointy blue hat. Requires 3 hats in specific orders for various spells. In fact, he might not even really be seen with his pointy blue hat. Because he's always wearing other hats, or maybe not even wearing. Whimsy and specifically halfway, the contrast between his traditional blue robes and unconventional hat situation reinforces the idea that he adheres to the essence of wizard while rejecting the rigid stereotypes. Correct, he has some specific orders to bring a visual and mechanical constraint for a game. Visual comedy, seeing short, juggling 3 different hats, a top hat, a beanie, and sombrero. Yeah, it'll actually be pretty funny. Oh yeah, all kinds of hats. If the order matters, it introduces puzzle element to combat or problem solving. Players might need to help him arrange his hats correctly before he can unleash the specific spell. Fact is, iconic pointy blue hat, often absent, replaced by the working hat, subverts the silhouette. When he does wear that pointy hat, it could be a signal he's off duty or using basic magic or making the moment he wears it feel significant. The robes, as the anchor, the blue robes, ground him in tradition, assuring the player that this is a wizard with a hat signal. This is my kind of wizard. This ties back to your early idea when John first sees him. Might focus on the lack of a pointy hat and the wrong body shape, seeing a fraud as the magic activates. The 3 hats align. John's perception shifts, and the blue robes and the aura of the hats make him look undeniably like a wizard, regardless of the missing pointing hat. This detail makes halfway Harold feel like a practitioner with a unique craft rather than generic NPC. Yep. And thanks for the help. I'm just drafting the actual story content from the event list. Basically, these are story beats where a sequence of events describes what happens, but now I have to turn them into an actual readable story. choose your own adventure style, but still in third person like a regular novel. Ensure the transition between story text and the choice options feel seamless. Natural extension of the character's thoughts. Keep paragraphs slightly shorter than the standard novel. Yes. Okay. Now. And dress the goal roads the self-respecting wizard. Okay. Now I gotta see this. Curses and doing everything in reverse, and thus with the reference section at the top. I didn't mean to fix that, but no matter. I think the levitation spell's in order. Halfway, I had briefly forgotten his spellcasting problems and arranged 3 hats on his head in a specific order, then said some magic words. Look on the top shelf. Slid out and started to float. No. Just then saw a flash of light and the sound of static when out of nowhere a book popped into existence, and then he could, it was just long enough he could read unicorn sign language for beginners. Before suddenly for seeing another flash of light seemed to change it into Beauty and the Beast. Before let's see. Before what? It looked out of existence. A puff of smoke. God, that wasn't. Those weren't the right books. books. Said he. uh, those are the right books. He exclaimed. Exclaimed. Those aren't the right books, he exclaimed. As he examined himself on his standing mirror. While adjusting the hats. Oh, that wasn't even the right spell. Realm swap. Realm swap. He re-ordered the hats and then did the spell again, and this time the hat magic compendium. Oh, Stream Boo. Bad. Anybody talking about Stream Boo? And this time the hat magic started to float down the shelf. Till it started to drop. It nearly knocked him out. He had stepped out of the way. This is a long piece of text, and I'm sure that I couldn't put the whole thing on a page. I mean, I should test it maybe. I'm gonna have to completely shorten this, honestly. Started to float down from the top shelf until it started to drop. Nearly knocked him out if he hadn't stepped out of the way. Lost this way magic. Okay. Halfway went over to his desk, sit down, and figure out the next step. Have to make sword to get going. Okay. I'll get this to John. Okay. So it looks like I pretty much got this page done. At least I got one done today. Might be, I might look out and get the second page done in the next stream, but annoying. Huh. Let's do something here. Let's Control S. Let's go to my paste bin. Actually, I don't think I'm logged into paste bin, so let me log into it off screen. Paste bin. Okay, need to map. I am still logged in. Okay. Let's do where's the new paste button? Um, Add new paste. Syntax highlighting. I should, if I can figure out how to set the default, I should set it to none. Okay. I could say writing as a category though. Game. CYOA. Maybe like that. Okay. Never, doesn't need to. Public. First caption page Enchanted and closed form. Okay. Now let's we're gonna copy this, we're gonna paste it. Okay. Create and paste. I just went ahead and did it. So okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this link. And we are going to go here. Here, let me paste the first official page of the story. The actual game is just a interactive story made simple story at this point. Let's see if you can read it. It should be able to read it, but who knows? I don't know anything about Brave Leo, so. Ah, okay. Okay, how about I just paste it? I'll just paste it. I probably don't care about changing anything, but you can still give me critique. The voice halfway muttering in self-correction, blasts the anti-Harry Potter filter, explicitly rejecting candidates who gain confidence or friends after finding magic is a brilliant way to set the stakes. You want someone who needs magic now, not someone who will just use it to become popular. Show, don't tell. The hat stacking and the botch spells demonstrates magical imitation rather better than any description. Blip is a great touch of weirdness. The craning callback, which ties back. Optional tweak. Encouraged to do everything in reverse, putting books on top. That's funny, but logically, if everything was reversed, wouldn't they put the books on the floor? Or maybe they put the labels upside down. uh, Basic and formatting. The transition from the crystal ball vision to the library scene is smooth. Hit one. Outcast. Oh, yeah. So I have a few actual typos. All right, let's go. Wait. This typos. Outcast. Wait. Do I have outcast in here? Outcast. Yes. Okay. Right. Exclaimed. Yeah, I always do the exclaimed ones. I always somehow leave out the C for some reason. I guess it's because they're so near to each other. Okay. Exclaimed. All right. Distance. See, I normally spell it with an E. So, all right. It's cradle. Oh. Okay. It's not it is, right? It's right. It's cradle. The title spells it magic. The full name, which I may or may not put in here, is Professor Zora Learns Hat Magic Compendium. I might hyphenate hat magic like that. So yeah. So magic is just the actual word I'm using. Magic is part of the title, which is on purpose. Magic was popularized the cult's author apparently distinguished science and art, causing change to occur with conformity and will. Serious ritual work of stagement. Even for a formal textbook, title fits with the tradition beautifully. Hyphenating is hat magic. Helps treat it as a proper noun. Um, Where? Oh, next. Okay. Oh, hat magic. Fine. Hat. Hats, hats, hats. Huh. Actually, let's do. I think that's all already. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So, what was the other critique here? Oh, the idea of the reversal curse was that he'd do things in reverse order. So instead of putting the reference section near the ground floor, he put it at the top. Although you can probably do several different things that would fit reversal. Okay. More gags. Reverse order logic theme. Writing books from last page to the first sentence backwards. Eating dessert before the main course. Saying goodbye before hello. Um, okay. Okay, thanks for the help. My time is up for this. Okay. I need to do one thing before I do anything else, and that is I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. I won't put it in the game until my next stream, I guess, since it's already 1 o'clock now. But I will go ahead and edit, select all, paste, it's plain text, that's fine. Okay, save changes. Okay, my first official page. First official page, prose, which I may still need to shorten. Okay. So I want to say thank you to everybody that stopped in and looked at stuff. And it looks like I'm dropping frames like crazy, which is okay because I have to go now for an hour. So I'll see you in an hour, hopefully. Thank you for watching part one. I'm not calling them part one anymore. Thank you for watching today. I'll see you probably in an hour or on the next video, the next live stream, whenever you see it, either on VOD or next time.